Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Rolling back the years, the last time Carlton had a 4-0 start by Andrew Wu, April 6, 2022, 11.32 save login, register or subscribe to save articles for later. Share normal text size, larger text size, very large text size to view all comments. Paul Keating was Prime Minister at a time when leaders served their term. Jeff Kennett made political enemies as the Victorian Premier instead of as Hawthorn's President, and Carlton won their last premiership. It was 1995, the year when Ricky Ponting made his Test debut. The host of A Current Affair, Ray Martin, took home the gold logie, and the cost of petrol was 68 cents per litre. Paul Keating was Prime Minister, while Jeff Kennett, right, was Victorian Premier. Credit, the age for football followers under the age of 30. The idea of Carlton being a premiership threat is a foreign concept, but the Blues were once a powerhouse on and off the field. 3 wins do not make a season, but there is growing optimism among the Blues faithful. This is not a false dawn after wins over the 2020 Premiers Richmond, last year's grand finalist Western Bulldogs and surprise packets Hawthorn. In 1995, Michael Voss, who now coaches the Blues, was a player for the Brisbane Bears. The Brisbane Lions did not yet exist. Credit, the age Carlton people voted with their feet last week. The crowd of 66,317, the highest for a game against Hawthorn since 2009, when the Blues enjoyed a fleeting, though winless, return to September. If they defeat Gold Coast on Sunday, and it is a considerable if given their recent history, it will be the first time they have started a season with 4 straight victories since 1995. Mark Taylor was Australia's Test captain, overseeing the team's rise to top of world cricket in the West Indies, a series which was also the major selling point for the country's first pay TV service Galaxy. Telecom Australia was renamed Telstra, phones were attached to walls and mobiles were proverbial bricks. Only 10 players from Carlton's 2022 list were alive when Stephen Canaan lifted the cup alongside David Parkin. The man who assembled more than half that list, Stephen Silverfnye, was the Blues fullback, who put all-time greats Wayne Carey and Gary Ablett to the sword in a magical September campaign. Coach Michael Voss was a budding champion for Brisbane, then known as the Bears, who played in his and the club's first final that year against the Blues. Fremantle were in their inaugural season as the league became a 16-team competition, and Fitzroy in their final throes as a standalone club before being sent north to Queensland in a shotgun marriage to become the Brisbane Lions. The Western Bulldogs were known as Footscray, and the idea of expansion was no more ambitious than a second team in South Australia. Matches overlapped, with games predominantly played during the day and training taking place at night as almost all players held full-time jobs outside of football. It was commonplace for 3 or 4 matches starting at 2:10 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon in Melbourne, sometimes at venues within a few kilometres of each other, and Geelong. The Blues' home of Icon Park was then known as Optus Oval, one of 5 AFL venues in Melbourne along with the MCG, Waverley Park, Victoria Park and the Western Oval, renamed the Whitten Oval that year after the death of the legendary Ted Whitten. The site of Marvel Stadium in Docklands was a wasteland. Friday night was the domain of North Melbourne, who pioneered the concept, but games were not held every round, excluding Easter, in what was to become the prized time slot on the fixture. Fans had to attend matches if they wanted to watch their team in real time with live coverage to Melbourne restricted to games held outside of Victoria, the rare sellout or the grand final, or settle for a quarter or so on the Saturday night replay. Telecom Australia was renamed Telstra that year. Credit, Aaron Jonason. It was also the year when the Anzac Day tradition of Collingwood and Essendon started, famously with a draw in front of a crowd of 94,825, though the league had previously staged matches involving other clubs on the day minus the fanfare. Gary Ablett SNR won a 3rd Coleman medal in as many years with a haul of 122 goals, ahead of Tony Lockett on 110 from 19 games. Plugger booted his ton and his 1,000th goal on the same day against Fremantle, sparking 2 field invasions at the SCG. In a sign of how the game has grown in Sydney, the crowd of 10,410 was probably surpassed by the number who stormed the field for Lance Franklin's milestone 2 weeks ago. Harry Mackay's 58 goals to win the Coleman last year would have seen him finish equal ninth with John Longmire, who made his name as a Kangaroos spearhead before becoming the Swans' longest-serving coach. Scrutiny of footballers was not as intense. Aside from the Sunday football panel programs, there was Talking Footy, hosted by